Globe and Mail just did an interview with Scotiabank's chief economist talking about where the housing prices are headed, where the interest rates will likely be in 2025, as well as the general state of the economy. I think this interview is very interesting. It gives us some insights because Jean-François Perrault, that's the chief economist, is very optimistic on the economy, but he's not very optimistic on the interest rates. Obviously, I'm not an economist myself, but I'll do my best to explain the correlation between economic strength and interest rates. So from my understanding, the stronger the economy is, the stronger the projections for the GDP are for the next year, the higher interest rates are likely to be. Because stronger economy means that there is higher chance of inflation. On the other hand, if there is a projection for our economy to slow down, for the GDP numbers to be lower next year, well, the Bank of Canada would likely be lowering interest rates in order to stimulate the economy, in order for people to feel more confident taking out loans and purchasing things. I know that's a very simplistic way to explain how things work, but for the purposes of this video, I think it would be enough. So this economist is actually pretty optimistic on the economy. He talks about how the Bank of Canada, when they did the interest rate reduction in October, based that reduction primarily on the inflation numbers, the reduction in inflation numbers, and not on the lower projected GDP for Canadian economy. At the moment, the projection for GDP for next year is between 1.3% to 2.1%. And the economist in this interview is thinking that the projection of 2.1% is the more accurate one. He is very bullish about the economy for next year. And seems like his belief is that the neutral rate for the Bank of Canada would be around 3.25%, maybe around 3%. So in his opinion, we're likely to see maybe another 0.5% interest rate reduction, maybe 75 basis points, and that is sort of the worst case scenario if economy doesn't do that well or as well as he's projecting. This number of 3.25% of neutral rate or 3% for the neutral rate is actually quite a bit higher. It's on the higher side because the Bank of Canada themselves say that their neutral lending rate is around 2.25 to 3.25. So this economist is being very cautious and he's talking about the higher amount, the 3.25, around 3%. I think that point alone is a very important takeaway from this article because over the last few months, I've been making a few videos about other economic experts talking about how the neutral rate is likely to be 2.75%, 2.5%, how we are very likely to see more interest rate cuts in the next year. And having sort of the opposite outlook is also important because this is how you get that better sort of educated guess, that gut feeling. You kind of listen to both sides and you decide what is the right strategy. Because of course, this economist, just like other economists, they don't know. They're just speculating, they're making educated guesses, and it's our job to take both sides and decide for ourselves what we think is the likely case scenario moving forward. And when asked about where he sees the housing prices being in 2025, he answered that he thinks it's going to be about 6 to 7% price increase next year across Canada, but he wouldn't be surprised if that number is a lot higher or a little less. So it seems like 5 to 7% is sort of the range that this economist is expecting. 5 to 7% sounds like a pretty big number, but it's actually not too bad. It's just slightly higher than inflation, and historically speaking, that's how real estate has been performing in the past, outside of a few outlier years where we had some crazy booms, like during COVID times or just past COVID times, and also 2016, 2017, where we had these crazy housing booms in terms of prices and in terms of demand happening. Outside of these rushes into the market is usually performing about 8 to 9%, 7%, something like that year over year on average. I think this is a pretty good and balanced look from someone who's very optimistic about the economy. It gives us a better idea where some economists see interest rates going next year and where others see interest rates going next year. It will be interesting to see how the story actually unfolds, and I will keep you updated here on this YouTube channel. Subscribe so you don't miss those videos when they do come out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, And I am a working realtor here in Vancouver, so if you have any questions, you need some help with real estate, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text message, shoot me an email. I'd be happy to help. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you next time. Bye.